Welcome, everyone. Welcome once again to In Touch. Once again, Dr. John Nowicki is with us. Nowicki Chiropractic and Wellness. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Man, we finally got a sunny day. We're recording this on the Wednesday before this actually plays, and wow, we've endured some stressful weather, haven't we?
We certainly have.
Man, the rain, the cold, the dreariness, and that just wears upon a human being. It really does.
You're right.
You know, it's mental stress, and that can wreak havoc with my patients, prospective patients, as well as physical stress. And it's something we tend to forget is that emotional stress can cause tight muscles, poor posture, that causes the spine to get racked out of position, and you to start to develop pain syndromes of one sort or another, or dysfunction in other parts of your body. You see, your brain communicates to your body parts through the nervous system, specifically the spinal cord, and then the peripheral nerves that exit from it. And you've got some nerves that go to your organs and some that go to your muscles and joints. Irrespective, the spine, the nerves that exit from there will affect, in part or indirectly, every tissue in your body, one way or the other. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you're out there thinking about it, you go, well, wait a minute, what about up into the head? Well, exiting from the mid-back are nerves that control blood vessel diameter everywhere in your body. So if you've got a mid-back that's been injured, those bones are shifted out of place, locked up in inflamed discs and joints and capsules. That will press on the nerves that control the blood supply to your brain. So you might develop, if you've got a pinched nerve in your mid-back, a migraine headache because you're not getting the right blood supply to the brain. Okay?
And if you're a person that has smaller arteries, it's really going to hit you, isn't it?
Yeah, there's variances in human beings, certainly. So,
certainly.
You know, your brain needs to control everything without interference. And my job is to make sure that there aren't bones that are locked up, shifted out of place, damaged ligaments supporting them, okay, and get them moving properly for you so that you can function the way you're designed to. And let me quote something. This is out of the American Journal of Pain Medicine. All right. This is a commentary written by John Lennon, not the singer, but I guess he was a singer, this particular one, but he's a professor of voice at Emporia State University. And the second author listed is Norman Shealy, an MD. And here's what they say about posture. All right. Posture affects and moderates every physiologic function, from breathing to hormonal production. In other words, the shape of your spine, if it's in good shape, your hormones function or are at the right levels and are released at the right time in the right way. If your spine is misaligned, you have poor hormonal production coordination with the brain. All right. Spinal pain is tied in with poor posture, of course. Headache, mood, blood pressure, pulse, lung capacity are among the functions most easily influenced by posture, according to Lennon and Shealy. The most significant influences of posture are upon respiration, breathing, all right, oxygenation. In other words, if your O2 levels are low in your blood, that can be related to posture, and sympathetic function. In other words, you're in fight or flight all the time, creating high blood pressure, feeling anxious, having digestive issues. Okay? Those can all be related to poor posture, sympathetic overdominance. And here's what they say. Ultimately, it appears that homeostasis and autonomic regulation are intimately connected with posture. Homeostasis is your body's mechanism that keeps you at a certain blood pressure, a certain temperature, whatever is needed to keep you alive and adapting to the environment. Autonomic regulation is simply your brain talking to the organs, okay, so that they function right and give your muscles and the rest of your body everything you need for digestion or through digestion, so that those muscles can have the right energy and nutrients to function right. All right, so that's autonomic nervous system function. So basically, according to these guys in the American Journal of Pain Medicine, posture, the shape of your spine, will affect everything. Moderates means, that first sentence there, they use the term moderates. That means controls. It moderates or adjusts the activity of. So in our office, we're different than most clinics in the area. When you walk into a clinic for a pain type syndrome, we're going to analyze the shape of your spine. And that is related to the way you function and how you feel. Certainly pain syndromes. Most of our patients walk in with some type of a pain issue. All right, but it's going to be moderated by the shape of their spine. So my goal here is to do a thorough analysis of the way your spine is shaped. In other words, you should have a 40-degree curve in your neck, a 42-degree curve in your mid-back, going the opposite direction, and a 40-degree ellipse in your low back. And our goals in the clinic are to help you regain normal posture, normal shape of your spine, so that you can function the way you were designed to. Okay, God-given talent can be exhibited, so you don't get limited in your ability to pick up your grandchildren, go fishing, go play hockey. All right, when you lose that normal shape to your spine, it increases your risk and rates of disability. That's not me saying that. That's the medical literature. So in our office, you come in, we're going to do a thorough consultation, a thorough examination. I'm going to lay my hands on you, and I'm going to dig in and find where those bones aren't moving right. And you're going to know from the exam that we're in the right spot. All right. Then we're going to take x-rays. And part of those x-rays we're going to take are going to be motion x-rays. Because when your spine is injured, it doesn't move right. And then you're going to actually see those x-rays. And you're going to see your spine not moving properly. I had a gentleman in with low back pain yesterday. He's 23. He hurt his back 8 years ago. His pads gave way in football, and they dug into his back during a blocking drill.
Ooh.
This poor guy's been hurting ever since, and recently constant with waxing and waning intensity. All right, so on his lateral bending movement x-rays of his low back, he actually bent the wrong way. When he bent to the right, your spine should bend and bow out to the right or to the left so you can bend to the right on x-ray, but his didn't. It shifted and the vertebra actually went the wrong way. That's just an indication of a really bad injury to the spine. Not broken bones, which is what he was told initially. He had crushed vertebra. It was the ligaments, the straps that hold the bones together, that were injured and not supporting and controlling proper movement. So I'm a ligament injury specialist. That is what I do. All right, I'm a chiropractor, but my special level of interest is ligament injury, and that shows up with severe trauma, but also repetitive motion, like leaning forward, playing on a video game, playing on your phone all the time. That can lead to it. Long-term stress. So long-term and short-term stressors, like a car accident, like getting checked in hockey, like Orpik did in 2016 playing against the Flyers. Man, you take a hit like that, you're subluxated. All right? Now, he was concussed, you're saying, if you're a hockey fan. Yes, he was, but they didn't hit his head. It jarred his spine, and that force went up into the skull and caused a concussion of his brain. But any neurosurgeon you talk to will tell you it's brain surgery down to C3, the third neck bone. And that's where I, as a chiropractor, and my EMT background comes into play. Because as EMT, and all of you out there that have specialized training in first responder care, okay, know that when you have a head injury, you assume a neck injury, and you will put a stiff collar on that neck, okay, to protect it until proven that there's no fractures in there at the emergency room. All right? But in my office, I go beyond that. We look to make sure that those ligaments are not damaged. So we do motion x-rays that you can determine how the bones are moving. Sometimes too much, sometimes too little. Okay, so that's really simplifying what I do. But man, ligaments are just straps that hold bones together. And if we're going to make a difference in the chronic pain syndrome problem in this country, it's by fixing the ligaments. All right. The medical literature shows that numbing you up with pain meds, OxyContin, is very poorly effective for long term and highly addictive. The drug companies sold that idea to the medical system that it was not addicting. That turned out to be a line of BS from the pharmaceutical companies. Okay, now all MDs know that OxyContin is just as addictive as cocaine and everything else out there. It is a terribly addictive drug, and it kills medically prescribed OxyContin. Side effects kill more people in this country each year than car accidents do. So when you see a car crash and somebody dying from it on the front page of the Daily News, man, or you hear about it in the radio, that more people died that day from OxyContin in this area, and likewise similar pain meds, than the car accident victims did. That's terrible. So I'm on a mission. The number one cause of chronic neck and back pain is ligament damage, 85%. All right. My job and my angle in this office that I've pursued, what makes me special, is that we focus on fixing that ligament damage, rehabbing it, restoring proper function, helping those ligaments heal, even if it's a chronically injured joint. In other words, one that was injured more than 3 months ago, possibly decades ago. Last year I had a gentleman come in that was 16 years out from putting his head through an open truck window and smacking it into a train. He crushed his skull into the train. They had to pick paint out of his brain when they were doing repair surgery on him. He came in 16 years later, and we were able to get great results with him. He's since been released from care. He's on what I call PRN care. In other words, as needed. If it flares up again, give us a holler. But he came in with terrible neck pain, doing great. So it doesn't matter how long ago you were injured, there's things we can do to help rehab you. Okay?
It's a good thing we have someone like you in our community.
Well, yeah, and that's why we're on the radio right now,
Right.
to let people know that this is available to them. If you've been told there's nothing you can do, or worse yet, don't go to the chiropractor, I'll tell you what, you study risks of care, and I don't know who's saying don't go to the chiropractor that you're going to already as a professional, but I'll compare my malpractice insurance and the malpractice insurance rates of chiropractic against any profession. Okay, we pay about 1/10 of what the general MD pays for malpractice insurance. Insurance companies, most of you know, don't give chiropractors any breaks. All right, but we're 1/10 of what a medical doctor pays a general practitioner, the safest, because they're not doing invasive stuff to insure. So they're the safest to insure, and we're 1/10 of what they are typically. Everybody else from there on in the medical professions goes up, and that's not me saying that. That's what the actuarial scientists say that determine what your malpractice rates are. So chiropractic is very safe. If you had neck surgery, back surgery, give me a call. Many, many, many of our patients have had that and respond very well to what we do here. It's conservative, gentle care that's going to get you your life back instead of just masking the symptoms.
You talked about side effects before. There's some out there that deal with your own body as cramping. It's terrible.
Yeah, statin drugs are famous for that. Yeah, statin drugs are famous for that.
Yeah.
One of their side effects is muscle degeneration, decay. Rhabdomyolysis is the side, the far end of that. Picture a deer rotting on the side of the highway. That's rhabdomyolysis, and that's a very real side effect of statin drugs. By the way, a little bit counterintuitive point, there is no study that shows statin drugs prolong life. None whatsoever. The reason you take them is to lower cholesterol, but cholesterol levels, the lower they are, the shorter you live. Anybody else telling you that isn't reading the literature. I'm only telling you what the literature says. Look up the literature. Statin drugs cause many side effects that people consider problems that they come in here for, and we have to always ask them about their statin drugs. Are they on them? All right.
You always look for the best for your patients.
Well, yeah, and if I can't help you, I'm not going to waste your time or money.
Right.
I'm going to send you to somebody that I think can. If I'm not the right specialist for you, okay, we're not going to waste your time or your money. That's why we do our homework when you come in. Take the right x-rays, do the exam. I'm not going to guess when it comes to your health. Okay? So, thanks for having me once again.
Thank
really
you, Doctor.
Appreciate it.
Dr. John Nowicki, Nowicki Chiropractic and Wellness. Questions? He has the answers. For In Touch, I'm Aaron Harper.